So, hey everyone, we're live. Hey, Design Unfiltered with Missy Kelley.
Hi.
Hey, I'm Joanne Weaver. I'm also here with my amazing co-host, Jared Tredly, Erica Fortgang. We've been doing this. We've been doing this for like a year and a half. We've had 3 Design Unfiltered live events.
Yes.
Hopefully one to come, maybe Q4, Q1, still kind of TBD.
That would be lovely.
Yeah, but Missy, we're so excited that you're here with us.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I've been huge fans of you guys.
We love
it
is unfiltered, and I think you are a great person to embody that.
I am gonna watch my P's and Q's this time. I'm just gonna be like, and here we go. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unfilter this. Like, let's ask the raw questions. What are some of the raw questions you want answered? Let's see. If you were a breakfast cereal from your childhood, what cereal would you count? Chocolate.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, okay, Erica, you love it. What cereal would you be? And if you say Grape Nuts, we're not friends.
My favorite cereal is Cracklin' Oat Bran, and like nobody remembers that. Or
I remember.
You do? Okay, I love it.
Yes.
I don't know why.
They were oval shaped.
Yeah, weird, and like a lot of sugar, but I don't know why I like really like them.
It had brand in the name, so it was like perfectly fine. It was absolutely fine. It was healthy. We would.
I remember that one, Erica. That's an outlet. That's like a deep cut.
It is deep. I look for it often when I grocery shop, and in fact, I think I had to buy it on Amazon like sometime in the last 5 years. So
you were dead stock from somewhere. Oh my god!
I just had a craving.
A craving.
How good is it being an adult when you can just do that?
It's great.
Okay.
Like this, I'm gonna buy this cereal. Like,
how often do you, like being an adult and having like the ability to just have cake anytime you want and cereal anytime you want? How often do you actually like exercise that power? Right.
I did it for 3 weeks straight for my birthday celebrations this month.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I got a total gut. It was awful. I mean, it was great when it was happening. But then afterwards, I was like, oh my God, I have so much work I have to do. But I was like ready. I'm like ready to stop all that. It was too much. It was just too much. Like my body wasn't used to it. I was like eating really early in the morning. I was eating, birthday cake. I mean, really amazing food too. So it was hard to say no to it because we had 3 gourmet chefs in the house, all of them men, by the way, who cooked for us multiple nights. So it was really hard to say no.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's a celebration.
Yeah. I need that kind of celebration in my life where it's just like 3 private chefs. Either that or an entire pantry stocked full of sugar cereals that I can have for dinner. That would be amazing. And I have that ability. I could Instacart right now. I could be like, hey, time out. Frankenberry to my face. Don't do it. As an adult, I don't exercise that.
Yeah, don't use it all hours.
Was that your cereal that you would choose to be?
Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries.
That's my second.
It really makes you have to want it because of how just it tears your mouth apart. It's a love-hate for sure. And it's like a little bit it's like a sadist cereal almost because it's just like pain. And you're just like, there's no good piece of it, but definitely Crunch Berries. Definitely Captain Crunch with Crunch Berries.
Love it.
How about you, Jared?
Australia had different cereals, I think, to the American ones for sure. Mm-hmm. I grew up on a pretty steady diet of Vitabrits, which is like Wheat Bix.
Yeah.
Kind of good for you, so I didn't mind that. But every now and then, as a real treat, it would be like Cocoa Pops.
We have those. Oh
yeah. That's about one of the few that probably crossed over. But one of my first trips to the States, in my late 20s, going to a supermarket and going down the aisle and being like, holy shit, like look at all this packaging, look at all these options, these boxes.
Yes.
I didn't really grow up with. Australia just didn't have that same kind of thing.
Yeah, you had grown up in communist Russia, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my God, America!"
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't that extreme, but it was a version of that. So Yeah, but now I treat every now and then, and I did it the other day at a great New York little cafe in Williamsburg called Brightside. I went and got a piece of Vegemite toast.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. If you guys ever make it up north to We the North, the treat du jour is butter tart. I will take us all out and we will
butter tart. What is
butter
it?
Tart. Oh my goodness. Canadians, please don't kill me. But if you have ever had a pecan pie, imagine a pecan pie without the pecans. And it's just that like gooey, delicious, but I mean, it's a little bit more like creamy and it's just like this sugary, gorgeous, delicious tart and that you can have like once a year. At least I can. I can't have it more than once a year. It's so decadent and dialed in.
It's like mainlining sugar.
It's just like, how can I have sugar that feels like a heritage moment? Like, give me like
yeah. Vintage sugar.
Oh, I love it.
I do love
sugar. I love that. Thanks, Zach and Farah. You're commenting on your choices too. I actually don't know what these are.
Kix is good. I like Kix.
Kix is great.
Yeah,
Kix, something like that.
Kix. And I like that Farah, hi Farah Johnstone. You got Team Trix. So we got Kix versus
Trix are delicious.
Trix.
But I just need to point out, Zach, I learned about Tim Tams like too late in life. And do you know about the Tim Tam Slam? I don't know if do you guys
well, you explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I worked with this amazing woman, Shilpa Shah. She was one of the co-founders of Kuyana. And we worked together at this place called Punch Cut. And she introduced me to the Tim Tam Slam. So you take a Tim Tam, which is a chocolate biscuit. That's like 2 biscuits sandwiched together and then like dipped in chocolate. And you nibble off the butter fart. Sorry, I caught that. You nibble off the corner, one at the top and one at the bottom. And you put it in hot chocolate. And you suck the hot chocolate through the Tim Tam.
Biscuit, basically, yeah.
Wow.
And then oh my God.
Wow.
It is.
Wow. It's a junk food hack.
Oh my God.
Junk food hack.
That's mainlining it, isn't it? That's really in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you get immediate diabetes, but it's so
have your insulin ready next to you.
right there for you.
Like an EpiPen, it's like the same idea.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so
inline
cool.
insulin.
I met somebody at a conference. Like I thought I was the Cheetos queen. Like I love Cheetos. And then I met somebody who loved Cheetos even more than I did. And she's like, dude, have you ever microwaved them?
Oh.
It's like, no, I never have. And I still have not to this day because I just don't really have a microwave.
Right.
Microwaved. Let us know. Put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Comment. Let us know.
I'm living too simply. I'm missing out on all these things.
Jared, you need to live. You need to live, man. After we're done with this, go microwave some Cheetos, get a slam,
Get a Tim Tam into me.
Get a butter tart, and then after you're resuscitated by the EMTs, tell us what the experience was.
Yeah. After I come back after phoenixing from my
exactly.
I'll be reborn,
Yeah, so out of body will kind of, you'll teleport down and tell us how it went. Yeah.
Sure, why not? Why not?
You'll tell
It's
yourself.
another day as a design recruiter, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah. On a tough day, just have a Tim Tam Slam waiting for you.
There's good days as a design recruiter?
I don't know. I've never been.
Sometimes.
Very good days. Very good days.
Should we get into it?
Yes, let's get into it. Everybody who's joining, welcome. Feel free to put where you're from. We always like to ask, hey, where are you calling in from? Put your location in the chat. We always love to see people that are, far flung, local, wherever. We love to see, loyal tuner inners, as well as new people. And we definitely encourage you to chat with each other in the chat. We're going to kind of start things off with Missy and ask her some questions. But if you have questions that come up during our conversation, stick them in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can. So
it is there for you to do this.
It's an interactive environment.
Absolutely. Ask tough questions.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Get the grill on.
Yeah.
Love it. I love it. So I'm going to give the official intro on Missy and then the unofficial intro on Missy. Okay. So Missy Kelley, official intro. She is a veteran design leader with over 20 years of experience in UX and product design. She's led design at companies like Bubble, yay, Vimeo, Splice, and now brings her experience to Canvas.io, where she's helping shape the future of spatial technology. So it's very cool. You like basically get your phone and you like scan a room and then it gives you like this CAD drawing. It's very, very cool.
Very cool stuff.
Very cool stuff. Now, the unofficial intro is that Missy is a badass. A total kick. I personally got to know her as our former client at Bubble, where we helped her build her design team. You were always so lovely to work with, just so fun and great feedback. We recruiters love great feedback. It really helps us do our jobs. Just so fantastic. I love your fearless mind. I love your zest for life. We went out to lunch, I don't know, like kind of soon after we started working together. And we closed down the restaurant. We were just chatting away, laughing so much. I felt like I could have talked to you for 4 more hours. So you're just a wonderful human being to boot. And we're so glad that you're here. So welcome to
welcome, Missy.
Thank you. Oh, that was so sweet. That was very, very nice. I've enjoyed I've absolutely enjoyed working for you. Working for you.
Basically.
Working for you. No,
more feedback, Missy. More feedback.
Yeah. It's been absolutely wonderful working with you guys and just like knowing you guys. You're a really good group of human beings who understand the design space. And so working with like recruiters who get designers is rare and so incredibly important, especially when you get into those negotiations.
Yes.
Even when it's me negotiating with you.
It's all the shared goal, though. It's all aiming for the same thing. So.
Run into the same goal.
Yeah, I know. And I feel like that's what's brought, me and Jared and Erica, like the 3 of us together, is that I feel like we all are cut from a very similar cloth. We really understand and like really want to understand design and just and designers and all of that. So yeah.
Y'all are a power trio. No kidding.
Yeah.
Trying.
Thank you.
All for that design crew. All for that community.
Yeah. Well, let's kick off with like a snapshot of where you're at now. So you've led, like you have this long time experience leading design teams, hiring, building, leading, inspiring teams. And now you've made the choice to move to Toronto from New York.
Yeah.
And to basically head up design and be design at Canvas.io.
Yeah.
So you're going from a leadership position, whatever leadership, quote unquote leadership, into more of like an IC, but like you're doing everything role. What was behind the decision around that? And how is that going so far?
Oh my good night. Okay. Yeah. So definitely, I think I might have mentioned it before. It's definitely like a complicated feeling but one of like kind of elation, not to sound cheesy. So the complicated feeling comes from you spend all this time building up to being able to like manage. Over at Vimeo, we were managing like a team of like almost 25 people and spanned from like the West Coast all the way to Israel. Like it was just an incredible breadth of directors with great designers and just a lot of really smart people. And we did a lot of really great things versus somebody like a Splice or even like a Bubble, where it was a much smaller team, but we were still doing like mighty stuff. Being in that manager role it's really, really awesome. And there are a lot of highlights. There are a lot of, I think the joke I make is like twice a year, it sucks. Right around review time, it's just awful. But being able to like build a team, especially when you have really lovely recruiting, partners like yourself, building that team, seeing that talent come in, growing that talent, creating opportunities, like those are really awesome problems to solve. But you do get into a place where kind of like you're maybe not growing the way that you want to grow. And certainly people can say like, that's because of the organizations or whatever, but there's just like, for me, there was something that was like a little bit missing. I always knew the designers I was hiring up and growing and working with were going to be way better designers than me. That was the intention, right? Like I want great top talent and bring them in. And I would see this work coming through and I'm like, oh my God, that's so great. That's so great. That's so great. You know, let's make this better. Let's make this great. And not being able to like get in there and do it. Because as a manager, you do that stuff and it's just not cool. You know, you can go in and you start messing with your, you know, team's designs. That's just not cool. So there was this like growing gap in what was kind of like satiating this fire for me. And so when I heard about Canvas from another friend of mine, another past colleague of mine, it married these two worlds that I was really, really interested in. You know, we are a tiny, tiny little team, but we're doing like really, really big things. I get to look at the breadth of the product, not just, you know, a slice of the product. I get to look at the whole freaking shebang. And then I get to go in and affect it. And decisions that, you know, are so small, like, you know, how do we want our images loading? How do we want that to look? Like that's something I can sit down and I didn't used to be able to kind of put my fingerprint on those things before. And I can do that now. And so it's scratching kind of all of the itches all at once, which can be like kind of frantic. But it touches, if you look at my past, like I enjoy doing the things I haven't done before. I enjoy the challenge of, and I'm always chasing the challenge and looking for that next just empty space where we can get in, you know, be it like back in the day, blockchain, physical products, you know, AI for robotics with Chinese companion bots over at Ammunition. Like I'm always chasing what is something that we can go in and we can change. And this gives me that opportunity. Canvas is, we're going to be undergoing a rebrand soon, but Canvas is doing some really cool stuff. Like you said, we're a technology that allows people to take their LiDAR-enabled devices, scan spaces, and get CAD files from them. But we're also building out into a much larger platform and being able to like change elevations day to day, moment to moment. Like the next couple of days, I'm in design system, building out our design system. And then I'm going to shift over to like working with my product managing partners to figure out what our strategy is for like going into more enterprise type spaces. That's really cool. And I don't have to, you know, PS, the bureaucracy of only management can be a bit of a downer. And so this is, I don't know, it's so far so good. I'm loving the getting the fingers dirty. I'm loving getting, you know, like building out components. It's just kind of dope. It's all kind of cool.
And you're lighting up as you're talking about it. It's like the proof is in the pudding right there.
It's a good fun job
in that space. Yeah.
I
mean, how was that for you? Because I think a lot of other design leaders might think like, oh, that sounds really cool. I'd love to like shift gears and like be more hands-on and like use that part of my brain that got me into this industry in the first place. And I remember we talked with Amanda George in our first Design Unfiltered in real life event, because she had done something similar. She was a manager and then she went into IC. And I think a lot of people, the language they would use was like, oh, you went back to being an IC. And I think what she made really clear is that it's not going back, like you're not going backwards. Right. It's just a different choice. But then I would imagine, and this is something that we all touched on in our little call on Monday, kind of our prep call, was that what does that do to the psyche? Like the psyche of a leader who's like, my self-identity is in having these big teams, feeling important, being important, the vision of the company. How has that shift been for you? And has the kind of concept of leadership even kind of changed for you?
Oh man, that fluctuates. That's a really good question. It's a tough one because it does fluctuate. It's the complicated that I was alluding to earlier, because you're kind of just, you're driven by this idea of manage, and then manage the teams, get the teams bigger, and then manage the directors who are managing the teams. And that is what success looks like. And for some people, that is what success looks like. And there's no wrong answers, right? Like you can absolutely do that. For me, the complicated feeling came from like starting to pull myself away from that a little bit. I still enjoy the management aspects. I still enjoy building out the teams, but not identifying myself with what, I guess, like, let's go with society has said success looks like, and start to redefine and reframe it for myself. So now I have to remind myself when I go into situations where I'm designing, I'm thinking, because I had that moment, I had those years, like a decade of managing and thinking about strategic movements. Now when I'm coming down and I'm like looking at a screen and I'm thinking about a feature launching, I'm not just thinking about that feature launching. I have the forethought of like, okay, we need to talk to our marketing partners because they probably have ad buys, and those ad buys are going to have dates that we can't shift, or we're going to have this portion is going to happen over in the data side. And so I think the view that I had from being a manager and building out those teams and having to work cross-functionally for so long with my cross-functional partners across the organization has made me a better designer. I can be far more efficient with how I'm thinking about doing things. And I can be a little less dogmatic with, I think earlier in my career when I was just explicitly a designer, perfection meant something different. Perfection really was just the pixels on the screen. And now as kind of this like more seasoned, have worked as kind of a product manager, as a product designer, product manager, I look at the design and I'm like, perfection has multiple checkpoints, not just that screen. And so when I get into situations and negotiations with my cross-functional partners anymore, it looks a lot different because I can appreciate what's at stake, and I can appreciate how the sausage is made in a way that I probably didn't get when I was younger. And that makes for a much faster turnaround. It's half the reason why I'm looking at, I work at a Series A right now, but it's half the reason why I've been looking at these like smaller organizations, because I'm like, the impact that I can bring is beyond those pixels on those screens.
Yeah.
It's like how we can communicate across functionally and everything. And that I have to keep like front and center in my brain.
Yeah.
When I ever have those moments of like, well, where's my giant team at?
Oh, yeah.
I certainly miss some of the amazing freaking talent. Like some of the designers over at Bubble are just like some of my favorite in the world. And I miss like managing those, but I know it'll come. I know it'll come soon. And so I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm going to really like just have a good time with it. And I have good product management and engineering partners right now. So I'm just going to like wallow in it like a pig in shit, not to get too Southern.
I mean, it is a time in the industry. I do think that it's different. It's been like this for a while now, but really when I look at it, say a principal designer, which is kind of what you're describing, how you operate right now, where you are hands-on, but you have all that strategic foresight. That's a big difference between, say, a staff and a principal technically out there, even though that's very hard across the industry. When you boil it down to, like, a principal can be equally as impactful as a design leader within the business, and actually they get paid about the same in most spots, like for the most part. Like, so I think in terms of that success metric, that recognition, that career progression, both paths can and should be equal, I would hope. So if you get lit up by the work, 100%. There's nothing in your way to stay on that track, I would
absolutely hope. It's really funny because at Bubble I had a lot of or not a lot of designers, but I had a couple of designers who were in this like crossroads of like, do we want to go into a management path or do we want to stay in an IC path? And more I was having designers wanting to go into that IC path. And so we were having to redefine our titles because I needed to be able to accommodate this. And I could see the value in having these roles open. And now, like, being in that role, I have an incredible appreciation for like Figma comments, like cool it on the Figma comments. I have a deep appreciation, for like heads down time and all of these things, and just like the pure craft of it. I think another thing, if I think about when I was a manager, maybe one of the things had we talked then and talked about, would you ever consider, like a principal role or a staff role? I might have answered differently, but also have kind of like started skirting in that direction, because as a manager, I would often find myself looking for an output that felt tangible.
Mhm.
And I could always say like, oh, a successful team, oh, a successful launch, oh, a successful BubbleCon, you know, oh, these are the tangible outcomes. But as an IC, I can go in and I can say like, oh, well, my tangible outcome is this thing I'm building.
Shipped. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it, right? I mean, my Figma's up right now on my monitor down here. You guys are up here. And I'm like, this is, it's gratifying in a way that I think I'd been missing for some time. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I remember when I was an early recruiter, I would meet with these, like, I worked a lot with agencies back then. And I meet with these like executive creative directors and people that had 20 years behind them. And there was something about them that there was like a sadness sometimes, you know, they're just like, I'm in meetings all day long. I pushed a pixel and God knows how long.
Yes.
Right. And they're like, that's not why I got into this business. Right. Yeah. So there's like that piece of it. And then your comment around people wanting to go more down the IC track. I think that's a wonderful opportunity that people can build their careers in that world that they really feel comfortable, and that's what they love, and they get to use their passion at the higher level, but still stay hands-on. And at the same time, I'm also wondering, you know, is there some fear there? Like, is it like, oh, they don't, and this is just kind of a philosophical question, but like, I wonder if there's some people that are like, well, I'm really comfortable with the design, so I want to stay in my comfort zone, grow in this area and go there. But then management feels really scary. I'd have to be a different person. I'd have to grow into something bigger or different than what I am now. You know, I wonder if that's part of it. You know, is there enough training on the job and depending on the company, right? Like,
no, we have a huge problem with training right now, I think. And I was just sorry, that was my thought.
Yeah. As in managers are inexperienced, you feel, or not, people aren't guiding them on how to be a good design manager. They just fall into it and that's that.
Absolutely. And for design, especially like if you're living in the world of like product design proper, most of the times design, especially in the smaller companies, like design reports into product. Right. And so it's very difficult for design to have that strategic voice. And so one of the things that works in my favor, and I'll always say it's because I'm an August Leo, is I'm just not shy. And so when I'm working with my teams and when I'm working, regardless if I'm, you know, laddering up into a CTO, CPO, whatever, I'm going to be as vocal and I'm going to treat my partners as partners, probably to the chagrin of my partners. Yeah. But usually design, you have to be in these organizations, you have to be incredibly vocal. And you end up with being managed by folks who don't necessarily understand design. They want to understand design. It's not a nefarious thing. They think they understand design because, or they have worked with designers and so that gives them a peek into, but they don't understand what it is to be a designer. The same way I couldn't sit down and, you know, tell an engineer what to do or manage an engineer. I could have managed a career if it's just like a checkbox. But a big part of managing designers is understanding there are multiple types of designers. Not all designers are, even within product design, not all product designers are the same. And so when I would build out my teams, like that was something I would bring to the table that, you know, kind of didn't exist. When I joined Bubble, we redid titles and everything and the descriptions of the titles because they were very PM geared. Again, not for bad reasons, just because. And so I had to make room for product designers who weren't maybe necessarily really heavy in that UI space, but they were UX or a product designer who understood the UX aspects, but were really heavy in that UI space. I had to create language around it where these people could be successful and be put into spots and teams and things like that where they could be successful, where those spaces didn't exist before because there just wasn't an understanding of like the differences that designers bring to the table. So like having been managed by a variety of human beings, I'm probably not the easiest to manage. I'm sorry, But having been managed by folks who don't understand design, I look at when I have conversations like with you, Joanne, Erica, Jared, and you guys are out there in the world saying, by the way, design is this, and you're working with these cross-functional partners. I thank you so much because you get the conversation going. And then I get to be annoying and push that conversation from the inside out. But it's tough out there for managers who are managing designers and never have. And I feel bad. I feel bad for those folks.
That's a tough
What
one.
would be, do you have any sort of like tips, like for a new manager? Like I'm thinking like somebody who maybe hasn't been formally managed in how to be a manager.
Oh, yeah.
Are there just some kind of things that you've learned along the way, like maybe some hard-won lessons or things that you've experienced where you're like, man, I wish somebody would have told me this about management? Or like
Fearless Missy.
Oh my good night. And I'll probably do this until the day I die. And I don't want to. It's one of those moments where you leave your body, kind of like you were talking about, Jared, where you're just like eating and then you leave your body. Where I leave my body, definitely start with curiosity.
Yeah.
When you enter a new org, when you enter a new team, when you enter anything, start with curiosity, especially if that isn't like a new team, because you're probably sitting on powder kegs of really great insights, ideas, thoughts, innovation. A lot of new managers will come in and they will say, oh, hey, I'm the manager. And now I'm going to tell you what to do. And because that's my job as a manager. And I just want a red flag on the field, stop sign, start with curiosity. It usually takes me, when I enter a team, that first 2 weeks will be me going like, okay, here's my idea, here's my idea, here's my idea. And I've learned to start holding those to myself and create the space for those ideas to come out of the mouths of your team members. And what that does is you immediately create a safe space where people feel like they're being heard. And that creates this little symbiotic, you're getting great, you're starting to set a great culture. You're getting, great repertoire with your team members. You're getting great insights from problems that they've been thinking about for months and months and months, and you have not. Lean into that curiosity. Let your team have a voice. If you got bad team members, be the manager and work at it. But if you've got a good team, if you've got a mediocre team, let them have a voice. And that's how you're going to figure out how to up level them. Give them the space. In design crits, and I run design crits in every one of my organizations, even when the team is one person, we run design crits. I always talk last. I always leave the space for the team to say the things that I'm seeing. And if they don't say the thing I saw, then I say it last.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, what you see as a manager, what you see in crit, what you're seeing, other people are seeing. Give them that space.
Let them do that.
Yeah, let them have that soapbox.
Yeah.
Those are the two big things. You already got the title. You're going to do fine. You're going to do the reviews. You're going to be great. You don't have to be a dick. Like,
don't be a dick. That's like rule number 3.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah. I love this. We have people chiming in with similar kind of philosophies. We got Richard Scott. Seek to understand before seeking to be understood.
100%. And I can always, Lala. I can always do better, and we can always do better. But just that leading with that curiosity and creating a space, and absolutely lead with empathy, 100%. I when I build out my teams, and Joanne, you guys know this, when I build out my teams, it's a very symbiotic space where I'm looking for complementary skills. I don't look for that jack of all trades kind of situation, because I really feel like as designers we bring something to the table that we have a specialty. And that specialty can show up, that spark can show up in many different ways. It can be that UX, the UI, the information architecture, understanding new technologies, the way you run design thinking workshops. We usually have a thing that we're really, really good at. And when I look at a team and I say okay, as a manager, how do I want to craft this transformer, if you will? Like, what is that gap? What's that missing spark that I need to bring in? And I bring that in through a designer. Now, as an IC, I'm looking at like, I have to now think, what am I bringing to the table?
Right.
You know, and when we're building out our team, I'm still going to IC.
Yeah.
What are the symbiotic? What are those teammates that I need? Where I have to have like a harsh look in the mirror and say, like, what am I not great at? And it's not much, but what am I?
It's a very tiny little narrow thing.
But what am I not great at, and what am I really good at?
Yeah.
And now, how can I build a team around me with people who are bringing greatness that I'm not good at? And how can I stay humble and know that they're great at this, even if I'm leading this team, even if, you know, and so that's going to be a really something I'm going to have to keep tapping back into and reminding myself, like, but you're not killing it on all fronts. We aren't. None of us are.
Nobody can. It's not realistic.
Yeah. Even some of my best designers on my best team, you know, like you always have a gap, and there's no shame in that. Like, really, like, look at the things you're strong at and fucking really like celebrate those,
leverage
those gaps, and celebrate the human that's going to fill those gaps. That's going to be amazing.
I love that. I wanted to ask on this kind of principal designer style front, we were talking about earlier, like the foresight that you have now because you were a manager and a leader, and you could see how, you know, decisions impacted across the platform and things like that. And now when you apply that to your IC work, it makes you a really powerful IC. Do you think an IC can get to that level and have that kind of foresight without ever being a manager? Absolutely. And how would they do that? How would you coach someone if you were back in the head?
Yeah, if I was back in, well, absolutely 100%. You don't have to go manage people in order to be like that strategic. I think what managing people is going to do for you is give you, you're definitely going to be working on your communication. You're definitely going to be working on your people skills, and you're going to be bringing empathy into everything. And then depending on the type of manager you are, you might be looking at like, am I kind of the kind of manager who tailors to the individuals, right? So all of those things you can figure out either in your private life or at work. At Bubble, the thing that when I started to describe what I needed from like my staff and my leads and things like that, it included like a lot of cross-functional communication and impact. So when we would get into review cycles, I break my review cycles into like 3 major categories. The first category is like, what are you doing for the business? And that talks to impact, and that impact can come from anywhere. It can be you partnering with the CFO to figure out, you know, what is our best UXR platform strategy. You know, it can be an internal thing, but it's your impact to the business. And then we do, what is the impact to the team? So then you're looking at like, okay, how are the features coming in? How are you moving the team forward? What design thinking workshops are you bringing to the table? Like, how are you impacting that team? And then I look at how are you impacting our design team, with a fourth one that I'll speak to a little bit. And that talks to like, how are you improving our processes? And that can look a lot of ways. It can be like, how are you working with our engineering partners to improve our handoff?
Yeah.
It's not just, did you get the pixels right? Did you ship the feature? I look at like, I want you to be doing strategic movements at all levels. Yeah. And then another thing I ask and that I kind of gauge folks on, and I managed to review this through how are you using your L&D budgets? How are you, working on yourself is like, what can I do for you? Because if I can't create a space for you, if you tell me that you are a junior designer and you want to lead a project one day, how am I creating the space for you to lead that project tomorrow? How am I setting you up for your next step? And I always tell my design teams, we don't retire from these jobs. We don't. Something next. So you tell me now what you want that next to be. And it's my job to create spaces for you to start flexing in that next. And so it's I might have like gone off on a little baby tangent a bit, but I bake it into how I review and how I manage the humans. They have to do strategic work. They have to talk cross-functionally. They have to be working with cross-functional partners.
Yeah, I love that. I do think there is a flavor out there of, we're seeing so much demand for IC type design, whether you are even a leader now, there's this hands-on expectation, right? So there's that, and people want to build those chops, but to continue to progress on that track, you don't just go up, you've got to go wide.
You got to go wide. Be able to impact the strategy. One of the line items for what I would even measure folks on are like, are your ideas making it to roadmaps? Where are your roadmap? Tell me on this roadmap what you've affected. Because design team, I'm biased. I'm a designer. I feel like, and if I were a product manager, I could probably say the same thing, but I feel like designers, because we're thinking about where the user came from and where they're going in their journey, and then kind of overall, like the spirit we want that experience to have, like we're constantly thinking like in the past and in the future, as well as in the present. And we can see, I feel a good designer can see where we need to go, or what a future feature can be, or how we can start to build the foundation for an unlock in, say, next quarter or next half. And so I believe that, and I want that from my designers. So I'm constantly saying, like, point on the map. Changed where we're headed. And then I review them against that. And it can be small, it can be large. I've had impact come from really, really like just gritty work that was just like improving a space and innovative new way of doing things kind of work.
I love that. Actually, Ryan Noonan, hi Ryan, you had put a comment up earlier about people going the IC track or the management track, but I feel like that applies here too, where you say, I would say most designers love the idea of being a mentor, but asking about being a manager gives them pause. To me, being a manager is more admin, so I don't think it's that hard. However, what is really needed are designers who can be great leaders. You don't need to be a manager to do that effectively. I try to build leaders, not managers. And I feel like that's so similar to what you're saying now too, where it's like, to be a good designer, and no matter what altitude you are in the company, it's like having that strategic mindset, that roadmap, like where is this going, having that vision. And I feel like especially with AI coming in the forefront, where it's like all these junior UX positions are getting a little bit squeezed out. I don't know what that means for the future of the industry, but I think that very kind of rote, make this thing and don't ask questions, I feel like that's being taken over by technology, right? So I feel like maybe you don't feel the same way.
Column A, column B. It's tough. You ask a designer how they're enjoying the outputs from dialog boxes, and you might get like a little bit of a mixed bag, right? So like when I'm looking at copy, or if I'm looking at the way like I'm building out like my titles or cards for a UI, I'm looking at like the kerning, I'm looking at the treatment, I'm looking at all these things. And if I were to sit down and have to dialog box that over into, one of your mainstream products, it's just much easier as a designer, just go in there and get exactly what I want. Now for a product manager, or if you're using like Figma and Figma Make and you have a really robust design system, we can start to like call the small changes, which to me is, I'm like, fine, go do that. I am not a get out of my lane kind of designer, because I'll get in a product manager's lane. I'll get into an engineer's lane. Like I'll get into I'm like, we're all running towards the same goal, guys. Let's like one team this thing. If there's a view or something that a product, anyone can spin up with, the design system that I built out, with the design expression that I've defined, and then they can go and rev on that thing. Have at it, man. That's a CMS. That's just a dialog box driven CMS to me. But as a designer, the way that I integrate AI into my workflow, it's very like it hits different levels. So placement copy for sure is going to be coming from like a Claude or an OpenAI. If I'm in a discovery space for like how I want something to be like laid out, or just explorations to kind of break me out of my preconceived solution, I'll throw it into like Figma Make, or, I'll ask a question. Just to kind of break me out of that. I might not take that output. I might just like rev on that output and make it my own, but I'll let that do like a little bit of the fast tracking for me. Yeah. I could keep going on, but I think the essence of the question really was like, at the end of the day, how do we think AI is like, for me, how do I think AI is like impacting the space? I think right now you're seeing a lot of folks who are going like, yeah, I don't need all these junior people. I think that pendulum, really feel like that pendulum's going to swing in the other direction, and it's going to be like, oh, I do need these people. In fact, we did not get the promise that we thought we were going to get from this, but we have learned a different workflow that has expedited us and have made those junior people more powerful and activate quicker and be impactful quicker.
I love that.
Yeah. So I think we'll see a normalization happening. And right now we're just seeing like this like gut reaction to the promise of efficiency and cost savings, like lower burn rates.
Right.
I do
a lot of lingo, right? And then like all that, dumpster fire that happened from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think I could be off the mark on this one, but wasn't like the whole AWS outage like just recently from like a huge...
I would love if that was correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
It took me back to Silicon Valley with Son of Anton. I was like, now we're seeing the snake eat its tail.
Yeah, I think on that junior front, I know you've got comments on this too, Erica. Like, it's I do still see a demand for them in some way, but I think the expectation on an earlier career designer now is just different.
Yeah.
Imagine being an early career designer, say 5 years ago, and you didn't know Figma. It's it's been around for a minute now. Like you got to know this. Okay, it's not quite enough that you've just graduated as a designer and you only know Sketch. It's like, no, that's not going to cut it. No. I just feel we're in another evolution of tooling in that way, where it's like, okay, you are early in your career, but you got to be playing with this stuff, and it's now going to be in your toolkit. And maybe that pressure is because the tools, the Figma Make and whatever, it can spit out a 7 out of 10 design, so, but it can't spit out a 10 out of 10. Fuck no, not even close. But designers can. So you got to be that designer. That's the difference. You got to be an 8, a 9 out of 10 designer that can level it up. Otherwise, that's where you hear the argument of like, oh, what do we need them for? It's like, sure, in this case, maybe not, but you definitely do need them because it's not a one-to-one replacement. Like
totally
the spat out, AI gen thing is not, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan in the comments here. You're always going to need those tastemakers to know what's good. They're going to look at the kerning of something and they're going to be like, that looks like shit. And it looks dated. Like AI is not going to know what looks dated. AI is not going to know how to change. I think we talked about this a little bit with the blow up of design systems. One day there were no cards, like the card component on everybody's website. The next day there were cards everywhere, and they work. They're good, but they're a component that has just become so prolific everywhere that everybody's site's starting to look the same. And, for better or for worse, design systems have helped us maintain, a sense of consistency. That's their job.
Yeah.
That consistency has led to best practices. Those best practices have led to everybody looking relatively the same. Unless you're in the agency space, if you're a product, chances are there are going to be pieces of your identity and how you show up that are going to be identical to other people. Design systems, we had this conversation as a design culture when they started to really like take hold, and that became something that you have to build with because it creates efficiency. Was like, oh, now everybody's going to look the same. We're having that thing with AI. The outputs all are relatively looking the same. If you know how to prompt, if you have like design language and you can communicate, you can prompt in a way that you can get some really great things. Lovable does a really great job. A lot of them are all using the same libraries, so you're going to end up with like same component type things that are happening.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of sameness. I think you're spot on. Like, you need tastemakers. You need folks who can look at it and be like, okay, where is this starting to just kind of feel flat?
Let me elevate it.
Yeah, it does the job.
Yeah.
But where does it like kind of feel a little like generic? And maybe AI will get us there. I think when I think of new designers now, get into Figma and start using their toolings and use them well. So you have tooling that will expedite the process, and it will free up your time so you can spend attention on being innovative and thinking about dialing up that design. Like, you can have repeating, rows just manifest by pulling down your little slider. Like, there are just places in the tool that will expedite your ability to design. And those are the moments that you want to capitalize on, so you can spend time on making things look unique and good and great and usable, and branded. Like, it's not about going in and saying like, dialog box, do this whole thing for me. Like, there are smaller tools that are just like peppered in and out, that will expedite it and give you, use them.
Yeah. Love it. Erica, I think you had something that you wanted to say or ask.
I have so many things. I was going to just give an analogy here. So a couple months ago, I had this idea for a company that I want to build or whatever, and I used Lovable to sort of create it. But then I never launched it because I was afraid, and I was like, what is the point of launching it? Like, do people copy it and sort of like, what is it, vibe off of it? And then I was asking, of course, ChatGPT, and it was like, anyone can technically copy your idea, right? It's up there live, but there's nobody else other than me who like thought about it, who has the same passion, right, to do it. So anyone can copy your ideas, but they're not going to have the original passion of the originator, right? So I feel like that is how it is with these sort of juniors. I work with very early startups. They're really open to the junior designers. I almost feel like we need an AI for like management training, because, and that's kind of what I was going for before with like there's a bottleneck that we are seeing with good leaders and managers, and we do need these designers, as eventually all of the ICs, the principal staffs, I mean, we're getting older, right? So at some point we have to reset. So that was the analogy for me. Like, there's, AI is never going to really understand taste. It might, but we need a human to push it, I think, forward.
And on the manager front, how AI can benefit you as a manager, there were different ways that I was using ChatGPT when I was working over at Bubble with my team. I adore taking written notes myself. I don't go with the Gemini. I mean, I will do the transcripts and stuff like that, but I don't feel like it always gets what it is that I'm trying to say. And so I just love the act of like taking the notes, and then I'll feed those notes into my team agent. And then I can talk to my agent about my team, and I can remember people's birthdays. I can remember like things that have come up in my conversations. And I feel like that was a way I was using AI to make me a better manager. And so it was enabling me to just like retain more information and call it and have a conversation with my own notes, which was really important. And so there are ways that I think one of the questions on here was like between assistance and authorship, like, there are ways that we can be looking at just how can these technologies, regardless of what these technologies are, enable us to do our job better and to really like hone the skills that are meaningful and matter. If you are a designer and your whole gig is typography and that's the only thing you're good at, that's awesome. But you need more. So how are you using these technologies then to like enhance the other gaps so that you hone in on technology? That's what I look for when I look at these different technologies, be it as an IC or be it as a manager. Is like, I want to be enhanced. Don't replace the thing. Enhance it.
And we've been talking about just like the nuts and bolts of designing, but there's so much more to being a designer than just the design, right? And this is true in like the recruitment area too. Can a person who's in a very largely like a service industry, which designers are, which recruiters are, a bot, at least not right now, maybe, DEFCON 5 happens.
Skynet goes live.
Right. It's, T2, the Terminator comes from Skynet,
Yeah.
But for now, it's like we all need people, like we all need interpersonal interactions to get shit done, right? At the end of the day, you need intuition, you need empathy, you need the ability to motivate, to cajole, to convince, right? There's so much more to it behind that.
100%. Negotiate. Like you're constantly negotiating. You're negotiating with your engineering partners, your branding partner, PMM partner. Like you're constantly negotiating. And honestly, if ChatGPT wants to pick that up, like pop off, queen, I want you to be doing those negotiations for me. But I don't think that you're going to be able to do it anytime soon or even effective. So like you have to have that human, and you have to build those relationships. Like as a designer, like I was mentioning earlier, because we see the past, the present, and the future, like of the user's experience. If I sit down with my product manager and my engineering partner and I'm like, hey, this is something that I think we need to be doing autosave here.
Yep.
I need to get them on board with it. Everybody can think it's a great idea, but there are time implications, and those time implications have dollars associated with them. So now I have to get into this like space that, again, if Claude wants to just like, if I can just have Claude in and they can pitch hint for me, like, great. But I don't see that happening anytime soon.
It feels like designers are the most important team member. I think.
Babe, I'm so biased. I think so too.
No, I'm really wondering because what you were saying before about knowing the business. I mean, I think other members of the team do, but would you say there's anyone else in a large org other than design, or in addition to, who have as much responsibility and like, I don't know.
He's about to burn all your current peers that you can't come.
But I'm just wondering because I don't know.
You know what I think?
It's a good point.
In a dysfunctional triad, and so that's the engineering product. And then I throw in a product manager. In a dysfunctional triad, yes, I will go with yes. Design will be the glue that manages to bound the business to the user and how those two are to the goal. In a functional team, it is seamless. The Venn diagram is a dot. You're going to have, if you have a product manager, you need mutual respect across the team. And I've absolutely built these teams and worked with these teams. And Joanne, you've helped me build these teams where you have like a product manager, an engineering manager, a PMM, and a lead product designer who all respect the craft of the other person. And they can come in, they will blur the lines between, and they will get the shit done. And it will look great. But you have to have that mutual respect, and that's really difficult to build and maintain. But once you have it, don't fuck with that team. Do not fuck with that team. Like, don't switch out because you think don't touch them. Let them.
It's a delicate flower.
It's a delicate flower. I try to protect those teams at all costs because, like, that culture is where really beautiful things come. But I would agree with you. Just to kind of go back to it. If it's a dysfunctional team,
that was a great answer.
Thanks. Especially if your designer has ever PM'd. And I've PM'd before. So when I was at Alfred, I was both product designer and product manager, and that was a hell of a hat. But I think that's amazing. I think if a designer, if you're a designer and you're just now getting into this world, take a Coursera.
I tell everyone.
Be super familiar with the world of PM, with the world of metrics, with the world of be very familiar with that. Spend all the time with that will make you unfucking touchable as a designer. I think
that's a wonderful note to end on. We're at time.
That is really great. That's inspiring, I think, because that's so within anyone's grasp as well. To just lead with the curiosity in that place. Just build that knowledge, go and learn about that function and use that to be a better better designer.
Heck yeah. This
Love
was
it.
great.
Yes. Missy, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Missy Kelley. Woohoo!
Yay.
So
I love you guys.
Yeah, love
Thank
you.
you for
And
all
thanks
these
for everybody
inputs.
for joining. It's been so nice to have your questions and your comments. And you guys are the engine that makes this thing run. So we're really, really, really honored and excited.
Please, everyone, connect with each other there in the comments. We see
Yeah.
all like-minded people, and I see a lot of similar sentiments shared from different people. So yeah, connect with each other. You're all in the same community.
Cool.
This recording will go. It will live here on LinkedIn. I'll pop it on YouTube. You can grab it later. Listen to the sweet, sweet sound of Missy's.
Yes.
Yes. If you're building your teams, look at these human beings because they're out there doing the hard work of teaching the hiring peoples like how to think about hiring designers because sometimes those hiring peoples aren't designers. And
most of the time.
Yes.
For me, at least. For me, in this small startups.
Yeah.
It's
Awesome, guys. All right.
All right.
Thank you again, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks. See you
Bye,
then.
guys.
Bye. Bye.